So I had this patient that came to my office and we were planning for surgery. Distal surgery involved a fusion just because this patient had instability, which means their spine kind of shifted. Every time that they stood up and walked, it slid forward and slid backwards. We call that instability. So at the time of surgery, as we were putting in our screws to hold the spine still and fuse it, essentially that screw, as I put it in, immediately I felt that I didn't get a good purchase. It didn't grab anything whatsoever, and I pulled on the screw and the screw came out. That really is a surgeon's worst nightmare, because some patients, even though their imaging studies or their workup shows that they may have good bone, when you get into the time of surgery or in surgery and you're placing screws or instrumentation into the spine, well, that's when you realize, wow, this patient has really shitty bone. Really complex. It adds to the complexity of the surgery, and it can cause some issues after surgery. So this particular patient tried to put that screw in, really didn't hold. Typically when that happens, we place a larger screw. And so instead of a 7.5 screw, I place an 8.5 screw. And that barely got me some purchase into the bone. Well, this is very similar to putting a screw into a wall, like at your home or in your garage, your room, that has no stud. If you put a screw into a wall with just the, that has no stud or support, that screw's gonna pull out. And that's very similar in surgery. When we're placing these screws into the spine, the bone actually has to be dense enough to hold that screw. And one of the worst things is actually placing a screw into the spine and it pulls out. So unfortunately, this patient did have a complication after surgery. As I got the patient up to get some x-rays and as they were walking with physical therapy, we got some new films and it showed that that part of the bone had fractured. It basically just split in pieces, and had to take the patient back to surgery to revise him. So the gist of this video is to make sure that you optimize your bone health, calcium, vitamin D, applying pressure upon the bone. That's called Wolff's Law. The bones need force applied to them to be able to be strong and to have that density. And when you're undergoing surgery, it's important to talk to your physician, your provider, and discuss any issues that you may have with your bone. So this is a surgeon's worst nightmare, is dealing with patients that have osteoporosis or really low bone quality.